Do you understand the difference between managing things and leading people? In today's video, we will discuss the management leadership balance, tips for management, tips for leadership, and managing as a leader. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and the bell to get notified when we post new videos. You don't want to miss any of them because we have some really good ones coming up in the next few weeks. I've been a professional coach since 2007, and I've coached hundreds of people. I've helped many of them break through their limiting beliefs that serve to hold them back, and that's really helped them grow in their careers and in their leadership abilities. Nobody could have said it better than Rear Admiral Grace Murray Hopper, or Amazing Grace as she was called, concerning the difference between management and leadership. She said, you manage things, you lead people. So let's talk about the management leadership balance. Both management and leadership skills are needed at the organizational, team, and personal levels. It's not a case of either or, but also and. Futurist Joel Barker provides another helpful distinction between the two roles. Managers manage within paradigms, leaders lead between paradigms. Both are needed. Trying to run an organization with only leadership or management is like trying to cut a page with half a pair of scissors. Leadership and management are a matched set. Both are needed to be effective. Systems and processes, management, for example, are critical to success. You and your organization can be using the latest technologies, be highly focused on customers and those serving them, leadership. But if the methods and approaches you're using to structure and organize your work is weak, your performance will suffer badly. People in your organization can be empowered, energized, and enlightened. But if your systems, processes, and technologies don't enable them to perform well, they won't. Developing the discipline and using the most effective tools and techniques of personal and organizational systems and processes is a critical element of high performance. But as the sweeping movement to teams, empowerment, and involvement intensifies, many more daily management tasks are moving to the front lines where they belong. So leadership becomes even more critical. Unfortunately, many people in so-called leadership positions aren't leaders. They're managers, bureaucrats, technocrats, bosses, administrators, department heads, and the like, but they aren't leaders. On the other hand, some people in individual contributor roles are powerful leaders. Leadership is an action and not a position. A leader doesn't just react and respond, but rather takes the initiative and generates action. A leader doesn't say something should be done, but instead ensures that something is done. An effective leader is a people person. Effective leaders connect, stay in contact with, and are highly visible to everyone on their team and in their organization. Leaders have developed the skills of supercharging logic, data, and analysis with emotion, pride, and the will to win. Their passion and enthusiasm for the team or organization's vision and purpose is highly contagious. They fire the imaginations, develop the capabilities, and build the confidence of people to go for it. Leaders help people believe the impossible is possible, which makes it highly probable. Do you like to be managed or led? Yeah, well, you're not alone. Very few people want to work for a manager. Most of us would rather be led by a leader. To manage is to control, handle, or manipulate. To lead is to guide, influence, or persuade. You manage things, systems, processes, and technology. You lead people, the roots of the rampant morale, energy, and performance problems found in many organizations are techno-managers who treat people as human resources to be managed. If you want to manage someone, manage yourself. Once you master that, you'll be a much more effective leader of others. So let's talk about management. I'm often surprised by how few leaders adopt Admiral Hopper's maxim. Most leaders have a large amount of things on their plate each day and often only deal with people on a transactional basis. That is, their primary motivation for interacting with subordinates is to require something of them. Those leaders are attempting to manage the demands of their day, and as a result, they're managing everything and everyone in it. That approach is sure to do one thing: make people not want to work for those leaders anymore. People are smart and can quickly realize when a leader has their best interest at heart, and likewise when a leader doesn't. Admiral Hopper had it right. Leaders do have high demands on them each day, but those demands are things, not people. Things are managed by setting priorities, keeping effective schedules, developing systems and protocols, and equipping and empowering teams to take on tasks. This post would not be complete without some practical tips on how to apply Admiral Hopper's timeless maxim: you manage things, you lead people. The following are personal lessons learned that have served me well over the years. I hope they are as useful to you as they have been for me. So let's talk about five tips on managing things. First, wake up early. The most productive part of our day are those early hours before the rest of the world gets up and moving. During this precious, uninterrupted time, we can settle in with a cup of coffee or tea and fully concentrate on the day. Our brains are at their best after a full night's sleep, and so are we, enabling us to do some of our best work. Then make a list daily. A CIA study showed that people can only remember about 6 things at a time in their short-term memory. That means with the myriad of tasks that barrel at us each day, we're bound to forget something unless we make a list. Making lists puts us at an advantage. Not only does it free up our short-term memory for creative task and problem solving, it also enables us to visualize and prioritize our day. Then third, do your most difficult task first. It has been said that if you eat a live frog first thing in the morning, nothing worse will happen to you the rest of the day. Starting out with our most difficult task not only gets that frog out of the way, it sets us free to be fully present in our day. Then the last one, apply the 5-minute rule. Most of us have a tendency to put off small tasks because they seem like they will take us off track. This rationale makes sense at first glance, and I used to think that way too. However, after many years of leading large teams and projects, I realized that putting off small tasks actually makes us less productive. This is because most small tasks can be completed in 5 minutes or less: responding to an email, reviewing a document, etc. Putting off these small tasks causes us to miss out on quick victories and immediate results. That's why I apply the 5-minute rule to small tasks. If it can be completed in 5 minutes or less, then I knock it out immediately. If not, then I write it down. Then lastly, know how and when to delegate. No leader can do everything. Part of managing tasks is knowing which ones to do personally and which ones to delegate to others. As a general rule, if you have too much on your plate and someone else can do the job at least 80% as good as you, then you should delegate it. Do you know someone that has a hard time making the distinction between managing things and leading people? Or have you worked with someone like that? Give us a shout out in the comments below and tell us your story. We'd really love to hear from you. So let's talk about leadership. People, on the other hand, are not managed, but led. At bottom, people want to know that they're valued by an organization and that its leader has their best interest at heart. This is the starting place for every leader. Without trust, people simply will not follow you. People also need to be given a vision or a clear picture of what the organization is trying to accomplish and how they fit into it. Leadership is not managing the demands of each day. It's taking people in a direction. Admiral Hopper's direction was to revolutionize the way people interacted with computers. Such a goal required people to be comfortable with the rapid pace of change and willing to constantly try out new ideas and approaches. People do not naturally embrace things that are untested and uncertain, but because of Admiral Hopper's leadership, many people followed her. The difference between Admiral Hopper and an average leader is that she understood a fundamental concept. You manage things and you lead people. And that made all the difference in her career. So let's talk about 5 tips on leading people. First, build trust. Trust is the reason someone will follow you. Without trust, you cannot lead. Many leaders make the mistake of moving forward on a policy or objective without first establishing trust with their subordinates, inviting high turnover, lackluster buy-in, and poor results. To establish trust, we must show others that we have their best interest at heart and we are capable to lead them. Then, secondly, identify what matters. In every organization, there are certain things that everyone must buy into to be successful. Could you imagine if McDonald's said they were not going to provide fast service? Or if Google said they were not going to promote innovation? These companies would certainly not be where they are today, if still in business at all. In every organization, we need to identify what that thing is that sets us apart and makes us successful. Then we need to help others to believe in it and live it out each day. The next, walk in their shoes. Few people will do something because it's important to you, but most people will do something if it's important to them. If we want others to believe in our vision of our organization, we need to try to see things from their perspective, show them how our vision benefits them, whether it's a pay raise, a bonus, a belief in the cause, the camaraderie of the team, or something else. The next, over-communicate. Leaders often make the mistake of not communicating enough with the people in their organization. It's surprising how much morale increases when people feel like they're in the loop on organizational decisions. In every decision, people want to know that their opinions and thoughts were heard. Not necessarily implemented, but just heard. Also, morale increases when people feel confident that they know what's expected of them, and they receive feedback when they meet those expectations. The most underused and cost-effective bonus in the world is a rightly deserved compliment. Then next, develop your people. It's our job as leaders to ensure that people are growing and becoming better each day. Whether someone has 30 years experience or is a brand new hire, all of us have knowledge to share and room to grow. New hires invigorate organizations with fresh perspectives and emerging skills, while experienced personnel convey efficient approaches and expertise. In our role as leaders, we must ensure that everyone has a platform to share their knowledge with others and that outside courses and trainings are available to employees, making them more valuable assets to the organization. So now let's talk about the basics of managing as a leader. Effective management and leadership are vital in these times of complexity and fast change in organizations. But while good management, as it has been defined in the past, is critically important in the day-to-day operation of an organization, it's not enough to help an organization move towards a vision. In the past, managers have been taught to focus on setting goals, planning, motivating employees, and coaching. And while all these activities are important, they are not enough to help managers also be leaders of change. What do we mean by leader in this context? A leader is someone who guides an organization and its people towards a future vision for the organization. A leader recognizes the opportunities inherent in organizational change and makes things happen to realize that change. A leader has integrity, credibility, and instills the trust of others in the organization to move towards this organizational change. How can a manager manage as a leader? Here are 5 critical factors to use to successfully manage as a leader. 1, know yourself. Leaders understand themselves and what they offer to the organization. Each leader has a distinctive personal style, and each leader recognizes that they will make changes in a way that reflects this style. Leaders who know themselves are able to assess themselves realistically and are comfortable talking about their limitations as well as their strengths. Self-aware leaders know that feedback is essential to their development, and they are eager to receive constructive criticism. Some managers at MIT may find themselves in a management position because they've been very successful as an individual contributor to a team. In some of these cases, they may not have stepped back and looked at their own strengths and areas for development as a manager and leader. If you're in this situation, we recommend that you complete some type of manager as a leader self-assessment tool, or evaluate yourself, which will help you gain a deeper understanding of your strengths and your areas for development, or get a coach who will help you with that. Secondly, know the organization. A leader's way of leading should be flexible and adaptable to the context and culture of the organization. A single, constant style of leadership would not be effective in all organizations. Different organizations require different approaches to leadership. So in some organizations, you could be institution-wide type of organization, or it could be specific to your department or within your team. Consequently, there are numerous subcultures at most companies within the bigger institution-wide culture. Effective managers and leaders understand the context and culture of different organizations within the larger organization. They then use the strengths of the organizational culture in their efforts to implement change. To understand an organization's culture, think about the following. How do things truly get done in the organization? Who have been successful leaders of the organization in the past? Why were they successful? What has the organization been successful for in the past? If you were to ask someone who has worked in the organization for a long time about why things are the way they are, what would they say? Third, build relationships. Managers who lead effectively pay attention to the interpersonal dimensions of their role as a manager and as leader. As a manager, they coach their employees to plan, set goals, and monitor performance. You can also shoot us a question about coaching if you need. As a leader and collaborator, they influence people at all levels of the organization, and they communicate assertively and effectively across the organization. They're empathetic to others, regardless of their position or authority. People who effectively build relationships often weave the following communication techniques into their everyday conversations. They ask others questions to learn more about what they really feel or believe, so inquiring before advocating. They repeat others' comments as they hear them without adding their own ideas, allowing the other person to feel like they were heard. They understand another person's point of view from that person's perspective and not from their own. Fourth, create vision. Creating a vision means that a person can imagine the future and literally see what the future could look like. Someone who creates vision can see opportunities for change, is able to think beyond obstacles, and can recognize what's best for the organization, even if obstacles and challenges to this vision exist in the present situation. Managers who are leaders may have a vision about how the work in their area could be organized in order to improve efficiencies, or they may see an opportunity to move into a new area or create a new product in the interest of meeting the organization's strategic vision. Creating vision requires a certain amount of creativity, thinking outside the box, and freedom to explore. So sometimes managers who are caught in the day-to-day operations of their group may feel too busy to generate the creativity necessary for a vision. Stepping back from the day-to-day responsibilities and reflecting on the big picture can help managers have some of the perspective to create a vision. Holding a retreat at an off-site location can provide the necessary distance from day-to-day work to have the mental energy to create vision. So tips to keep in mind about creating a vision. A vision taps into embedded concerns and needs. A vision asserts what you and your colleagues want to create. It's something worth going for, and a vision provides meaning to the work you and your colleagues do. By definition, a vision is a little cloudy and grand. A vision is simple, and it provides a starting place for which to get to more and more levels of specificity. Then 5, manage the day-to-day relationships and operations of your team. The previous 4 factors, which are critical to success in managing a leader, are incomplete without a 5th success factor: good day-to-day management practices. Managers who lead others effectively also exercise the basics of good management practice: coaching, delegating, planning, goal setting, and motivating employees on a day-to-day basis. Consequently, the smooth, efficient day-to-day operation of their group allows them to also be effective leaders. To learn more about good management practice, reach out to us and we will be happy to talk to you about what is coaching and how do you develop that. As you can see, there is a distinct difference in managing and leading. Which do you hope to be? A manager or a leader? Are you leading where needed and managing things? I encourage you to practice both and keep in mind the distinctions. Are you struggling with leading versus managing at work? Or are you struggling with an overloaded workload or getting off that hamster wheel chasing success? Well, you should come join our private community. You can find more information by clicking on the link in the description below. We have such a great group of people who are part of this great community supporting each other in their efforts. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notified when we post new videos so you don't miss any of the great ones coming up. So subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you there.